Chapter 10, The Queen of the Inner World. When Iseult weds King Mark of Cornwall, it represents something deep and powerful in our psyche. Anima is returned to the inner kingdom. Feminine and masculine are joined. The self is completed and made whole. We hear bells pealing. The people crowd into the great church and line the streets to behold the new queen and rejoice in her beauty. The soul has returned to Cornwall. The king has a wife. The land bursts into bloom. We should give pause to appreciate what this means to us, for this is a corresponding marriage within us, a union we should not hold lightly. Iseult has been the queen from the moment that a sparrow flew through the window of Tintagel and brought her golden hair to Mark. Tristan calls her the queen before she is married to King Mark and addresses her as queen, even in the wilds of Morrois. I'm going to have to learn how to say that word. Iseult the Fair is first, last, and always the queen. She can be nothing else. The royal marriage tells us that it is correct that Anima should be joined to the inner king. Even though Tristan tricked her and used force and guile, even though his motives were wrong and she came against her will, even though they drank the love potion in the high seas, nevertheless, Iseult is the queen of the inner world, and she is destined for only one place, to be queen on the throne next to King Mark, the inner king. No other place can be appropriate to her royalty and her divinity. If we see this, then we understand why Tristan destroys the kingdom when he betrays King Mark. Not only does he betray the king, he reduces the queen to a place of lesser dignity than is her right. This not only affects Tristan in his personal world, but affects the whole kingdom. When Iseult married King Mark, healing and joy flowered through the whole land. When Tristan beguiles Iseult into secret trysts beneath a pine tree, the reverberations are felt everywhere. The queen is made less than she is. She is toppled from her throne and is banished. The queen's heart is divided. Tristan is divided, and soon the kingdom will be filled with discord because they cannot resolve the conflict within themselves. The dilemma of the myth and the source of all the conflicts, confusions, and sufferings is one simple demand. Tristan demands the right to possess Iseult for himself. She who should be queen for a whole kingdom is stolen away by an individual. Ego usurps that which belongs to the self. Now, what does this mean in the lives of modern men? The way that we pull Anima away from her correct role within us as queen of the inner world is by our attempts to make her into an external physical woman. We do this by projection. This is our ego's way of trying to possess Anima, to imprison her in mortal flesh, to experience her on a personal, external, physical level. One specific thing is required in order to return Anima to her psychological role as queen of the inner world. A man must be willing to withdraw the projection of Anima from the women in his life. This alone makes it possible for Anima to perform her correct role within the psyche. This alone makes it possible for him to see woman as she is, unburdened by his projections. Jung says this about the reclaiming of projection. The withdrawal of the projections makes the Anima what she originally was, an archetypal image which, in its right place, functions to the advantage of the individual, functioning between the ego and the unconscious. Jung's Psychology of the Transference, paragraph 504. Apparently the full quotation of this passage is coming up in chapter 16. What is her, quote, right place? It is, quote, functioning between the ego and the unconscious. Living in a man's inner psyche, his imagination, inspiring him from within. When Tristan demands that he possess the queen, it means that he insists on making Anima into a physical being. He tries to make his soul physical, rather than recognize that she is a psychological being who lives in the inner world. Instead of experiencing her through symbol as an inner feminine image, he tries to turn her into a literal physical woman. We not only take woman's image as the symbol of Anima, but we forget that we have made her a symbol. We believe that Anima is woman and that woman is Anima. We demand of women that they act out that role and to be the goddess rather than human. By humanizing Anima, we lose sight of our souls. By trying to make women divine, we lose sight of their humanity and rob them of their womanhood. Iseult's royal marriage and her coronation as queen tell us that she must always reign in the inner world as queen. Try as we will, we may not draw her away from the inner king, pull her away from her royal marriage, or extrovert her into our physical relationships. If we try to do any of these, the kingdom is torn apart. The structure of human life and human relationships is damaged. And because Tristan keeps trying to see Anima as physical woman, he never experiences her as my lady's soul, which is his true desire and deepest wisdom. There is another way. We can learn to differentiate the inner from the outer, relinquish the queen to the king, and let her reveal a whole new world of consciousness, a world we can only see when we go to her as archetype, experienced within. Tristan knows in his deepest heart that Iseult must always be the queen. This is why he never tries to make an ordinary marriage with her. This is why, at a crucial moment, he places the naked sword between himself and Iseult. Ultimately, he knows he cannot possess her in a personal and physical way. He relinquishes her to the king with one hand, even as he tries to possess her with the other. He does this unconsciously, begrudgingly, bemoaning his fate and not seeing the reasons behind his own actions. If Tristan could make this sacrificial act consciously, if he could put the queen back on her throne and understand why this must be so, his fate would not be the tragic story that it is. If he could stay close by his queen, he could experience her as the goddess that she is. He could live with her inwardly on the correct level. He would have his soul, the High Queen, as inner reality, and he would be free to live with a mortal woman outwardly, to love her intensely in her own right, as is her due. Chapter 11. Deceit beneath the pine. And what should I repent, Ogrin, my lord? You that sit in judgment upon us here, do you know what cup it was we drank upon the high sea? That good great draught inebriates us both. With these words, Tristan answers when Ogrin the hermit calls him to repent of treason and adultery. And with these words, a new morality enters the world. Those who drink of the love potion claim a special dispensation. Tristan tells us he is innocent, that he has done no wrong, that he answers to a new set of laws. Inebriated as he is upon the magic wine, he is lifted above the old standard of right and wrong. He will not be judged by any rule save the law of passion, and God has intervened on his side so many times that he seems rightfully to claim the imprimatur of heaven. The first time is beneath the tall pine tree, the secret place where the lovers meet. The moon is in league with them and reveals that the king watches from on high in the tree. And when they have acted their roles and fooled the king, Brangian exclaims, God has worked a miracle for you, for he is compassionate and will not hurt the innocent in heart. What is this? Here is a contradiction difficult to explain. How are these lovers innocent in heart, even as they betray the king, break their vows to him, and make a fool of him? Is this the same God who sanctifies marriage, who enjoins faithfulness and truth? Has God drunk the same wine as the lovers and begun to help in treasons and adulteries? But there is more. When the lovers are caught and Tristan is marched to the stake, he jumps off a cliff. Miraculously, a sudden and powerful wind billows out his cloak, which has caught on his boot, and breaks his fall. Later, when King Mark comes upon the lovers lying together in the wood of Morois, it happens that Tristan has put his naked sword between himself and Iseult. The lovers are saved again. Finally, when Iseult stands before all the assembled barony to endure the judgment of God, she lifts up a red-hot bar and she is not burned. God himself confirms that she speaks, quote, truth. What are these miracles? What can they mean? They are not mere dramatic devices. If we can understand it, the lovers speak truly. They are innocent. They are the pure in heart. They have been overcome by a truth and a power so awesome that they have lost their bearings. They resonate to another world, to a different level of existence, and it has set them in opposition to all the standards of the ordinary human world. These miracles tell us that the lovers do right even as they do wrong. At least they do the best they can with the terrible revelation that has befallen them. The other world intervenes over and over into ordinary life to relieve the two lovers of the normal consequences of their acts. For if they are out of step with this ordinary world and with human morality, they are completely in step with that other world. But that world exacts its own prices and has its own consequences, and we shall soon see what those consequences are. If we ask which world these lovers resonate to, we need only return to the tall pine tree and listen to Tristan. Quote, "This is not the enchanted orchard, but one day, friend, we shall go together to a fortunate land from which none returns. There rises a castle of white marble. At each of its 1,000 windows burns a lighted candle. At each a minstrel plays and sings a melody without end." This enchanted orchard is the inner world of the psyche, the unexplored part of a human being outside of time and space. Of this world Tristan knows nothing until he drinks the love potion. But once he drinks it, that world consumes him. His eyes are dazzled by what he has never before seen. His mind and body and all his senses are attuned ever after to only one level of existence. But what about the king? What of Tristan's human life and duties? What of Iseult's marriage, her vows, her life with her husband? Here upon the pine tree, we begin to sense that the love potion demands too much. It takes too much away. Unless we make it conscious, unless we put it on the correct level, it absolutely possesses us and dominates us from the depths. It dissolves our human lives, relationships, and commitments. It leaves nothing in their place. The world it opens to us is rare and wonderful. It is a part of ourselves we long have needed to rediscover and touch. But as with every powerful new truth emerging from the unconscious, the love potion finds its way into places it does not belong, destroying things that should have been saved, claims more than it is due. When the love potion seizes Tristan and Iseult, it not only asks of them that they add a new dimension to their lives, it demands that they obliterate all sense of right and wrong, all the standards of loyalty, commitment, and faithfulness by which we ordinary mortals keep our lives and our human relationships intact upon the face of this earth. We saw one drink of the love potion turn the world upside down. Now we see that it reverses morality. It reverses our values, turning right into wrong and wrong into right. Since the ascendancy of romantic love, most Westerners are torn constantly between two opposing ideals. One is the ideal of romance, the other is the ideal of commitment in human relationships. We commonly think they are the same, but they are utterly opposed. With courtly love, a whole new set of values came into our culture. Without our being aware, a new morality was born within us and began to shape our attitudes. Romance, in its purest form, seeks only one thing: passion. It is willing to sacrifice everything else, every duty, obligation, relationship, or commitment in order to have passion. With courtly love, we begin to believe that the most important thing in life is to search for one's soul through romantic projection. We have not learned that there is any other way to find our soul. Our ideal of romance teaches us that we must seek the ultimate ecstasy, discover the enchanted orchard, by the one means known to us, falling, quote, in love. The cult of romance legislates a new definition of good and bad. Our new morality says that there is nothing so important as to be in love, to feel that intensity and that ecstasy, to believe that one has once again found one's missing soul revealed in the beloved. Passion is the way, the only way, to wholeness and fulfillment. Passion is the one lane into the lost world of the gods. Believing this, we could not help but enact a new standard of right and wrong. Whatever comes from being in love is right. Whatever serves my passion is right, and whatever stands in the way of my passion must be shoved aside for the higher good. We all answer with Tristan, "You sit in that judgment upon us here. Do you know what cup it was we drank upon the high sea?" We believe that we have the right to follow our projections wherever they may lead, and to pursue passion for its own sake, regardless of the relationships that are broken, regardless of the people who are hurt. Passion has become unconsciously defined as our highest good, our main goal in life, and all other values are commonly sacrificed to it. Typically, a modern man will begin a marriage with his soul image projected on his wife. He only begins to know his wife as a woman after the projection begins to lift. He finds that he loves her as a woman, he values her and respects her. He feels the beauty of being committed to her and knowing that she is committed to him. But one day he meets a woman who catches the projection of anima. He knows nothing of anima and less of projection. He only knows that this other woman seems like the essence of perfection. A golden light seems to envelop her, and his life feels exciting and meaningful when he is with her. On that day, the two opposing armies in the Western psyche take up their swords and go to war within him. The two moralities begin their duel. On one side, his human morality tells him that it is wrong to betray his wife and set off on a course that will break his relationship. His instincts warn him to affirm what he has, to cherish the durable love that nourishes him, the stability and mutual trust that he and his wife have achieved. But on the other hand, of his unconscious mind, another voice is heard, the morality of romance. Romance tells him that his life will only have meaning if he goes after anima, and that he must pursue his soul specifically in the body of the other woman. Nothing less will do, for there lies passion, and passion is all. The morality of the love potion tells him he must seek passion at all costs. He has a right to fall in love at random. That is what life is all about. He has an affirmative duty to himself to get all the excitement and intensity that he can. The ancient voices of Cathars and courtly knights and ladies all whisper in unison that true love is found neither in marriage nor within ordinary relationship, that true love is only found with a woman other than his wife, a woman whom he sees not as woman, but as the image of the goddess. Such is the morality that envelops Tristan. Such is the law by which he lives, whether trysting beneath the tall pine tree or wandering the wild forest paths with Iseult. The only voice we hear raised in objection is the gruff voice of old Ogren the hermit. A man that is a traitor to his lord is worthy to be torn by horses and burnt upon the faggot, and wherever his ashes fall no grass shall grow. Lord Tristan, give back the queen to the man who espoused her lawfully, according to the laws of Rome. Do penance, Tristan. Here is a charming and quaint old man, a voice from ancient times. The old laws sound strange coming from his mouth. We are tempted to laugh and dismiss his exhortations as the hopelessly naive, old-fashioned morality of the bygone era. But behind every ideal of morality is something worth looking at, a set of human values. Those values are not arbitrarily fabricated out of thin air. They come from somewhere in the depths of the human psyche, and they answer to genuine human need. Morality all too soon becomes a superficial social system, a calcified fossil that has lost touch with the real needs of people and that sets up arbitrary rules. But we can look behind the artificiality and discover the real needs that are served. Underneath his quaint words, the old hermit pleads desperately for the qualities of loyalty and commitment, especially within marriage. The hermit cries out that human beings have to be able to depend on each other. He is saying that human life can't go on, relationships can't stay together, people can't really live out their love for one another in any meaningful way unless human beings will truly honor the commitments they make to one another. Ogren knows that Tristan and Iseult have not only thrown out sexual faithfulness, they have given up all loyalty, all commitment, all duty, save one, their dedication to passion. But a commitment to passion is not a substitute for commitment to a human being. In our culture, we have these two feelings completely confused. We are all committed to finding passion. We are all committed to being eternally in love. And we imagine that this is the same thing as being committed to a person. But the passion fades. The passion migrates to someone else we feel attracted to. If we are committed only to follow where passion leads us, then there can be no true loyalty to any individual person. Loyalty and commitment are archetypes in our human structure. They are as necessary to us as food and air. It is out of this profound human need for stable, loyal, and enduring relationships that the morality of Ogren, the morality of commitment, grows. Almost everyone is looking for committed relationship. Most people sense that this is what they need, and people talk and read about relationship incessantly. But for all our talk about commitment, we are sabotaged by our assumptions before we begin. We assume that the single ingredient that we need for relationship, the one thing it cannot do without, is romance. But in fact, the essential ingredient for relationships are affection and commitment. If we look clearly, we begin to see that romance is a completely different energy system, a completely distinct set of values from love and commitment. If it is romance that we seek, it is romance that we shall have, but not commitment and not relationship. A man is committed to a woman only when he can inwardly affirm that he binds himself to her as an individual, and that he will be with her even when he is no longer in love, even when he and she are no longer afire with passion, and he no longer sees in her his ideal of perfection or the reflection of his soul. When a man can say this inwardly and mean it, then he has touched the essence of commitment. But he should know that he has an inner battle ahead of him. The love potion is strong. The new morality of romance is deeply ingrained in us. It seizes and dominates us when we least expect it. To put the love potion on the correct level, to live it without betraying his human relationships, is the most difficult task of consciousness that any man can undertake in our modern Western world. Here, then, are two moralities that we find in conflict beneath a tall pine tree: the morality of romance and the morality of human commitment. Within each of us, two armies from the ancient past are drawn up in ghostly array, fighting still the interminable battles of the past millennium. In this war, there can be no resolution by battle, for emblazoned on the banner of each troop is a truth that we need, that must not be lost or destroyed. But these two armies will clash and destroy until we finally learn on what level to live each truth. The truth hidden in the morality of romance is that of the soul, the inner world, the true enchanted orchard. it must be lived inwardly. The truth hidden in the morality of Ogren is that of human loyalty and commitment. It is to be lived outwardly on the level of our relationships with other people. Our role is to be the peacemakers and the level seekers, to find the level on which each truth is to be experienced and to live it affirmatively. When each need is honored and each world within us is honored, those ancient armies will put down their swords. They will make peace.